Stylers, welcome back to the Mothership. Today I'm starting a brand new series where I will be sharing with you some of the creepiest, craziest alien conspiracy theories out there. This has been one of the most highly requested videos on my channel ever. One day I randomly just vaguely mentioned this on Snapchat and you guys have been flooding my inboxes everywhere requesting that I start the series already, and I'm sorry for making you guys wait all this time. This series was hugely inspired by Shane Dawson. I love Shane Dawson. His series is incredible, but I wanted to expand on the alien side of it because if you guys are into aliens, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys are if you're following me on this channel, then you know just how fun it is to watch those crazy alien videos late at night. Despite how improbable some of them might be, they're just interesting to wonder about nonetheless. The things I'm going to share with you guys in today's video are already out there. It's nothing new, so please don't come after me, Men in Black. You guys will also notice that throughout this video there will be a little slideshow playing of your photos using the Styler alien filter from Snapchat. If you guys ever happen to come across that filter on Snapchat again, be sure to take photos of yourself and send them to me for a chance to possibly be featured in a future video. So I almost didn't start this series because the more I started to research into it, the creepier things got. The first topic of discussion: Men in Black. You guys might have already heard of it. There's a silly movie based on it, and if you guys have seen it and you like it, give this video a thumbs up so we know. The Men in Black are men who are dressed in black, surprise, and they typically visit someone who has recently encountered a UFO, an alien, or has evidence of these encounters. They usually travel in doubles, and some people say that they're just very bizarre acting secretive government officials, while others have their own theories. People have described them to be super pale, having no facial hair, no hair on their heads, and also sometimes lacking lips and teeth. They say inappropriate things and are socially awkward. So in order to give you guys a better idea of what these people are like, I'm going to share with you a very popular story about a famous encounter with one of these men in black. So in 1976, there was a psychiatrist named Dr. Herbert Hopkins who was working with a supposed alien abductee. He was doing hypnosis with this patient and he had all this evidence and information about the so-called encounter with the aliens. But outside of that, this psychiatrist wasn't really interested in UFOs. He was just kind of doing his job. One day when Dr. Hopkins was at home, he got a strange phone call from somebody allegedly part of some kind of government organization, and he asked Hopkins about the case that he was working on and if he would be willing to meet with this man to talk about it further. For whatever reason, Hopkins agreed, and shortly after he hung up, he walked through the hallway, and as soon as he walked through the hallway and turned on the light, he noticed that this man was already walking up the stairs on the way to his front door, which is insane because this man would have had to been right next door or just across the street or something to have been able to appear so instantly after this phone call. The man knocked and Hopkins let him into his apartment. They sat on the couch and the guy who was dressed in all black started to ask him some questions about the case. So this man in black looked very strange. He lacked facial hair and he didn't seem to have teeth. At one point, this man even kind of wiped his mouth a little bit with his gloved hand, and Hopkins noticed that he had a bit of a lipstick smear in that moment, almost as if he was wearing lipstick to fool him into thinking he had lips and to fool him into thinking he was a regular person, which is really weird, really creepy. You know, this man kind of asked him questions about the case. At one point, this was really strange, but the man in black made a coin disappear, talked to him about almost a different dimension or something, just a very strange, obscure thing. As he kept talking to Hopkins, he seemed to start to lose his energy, almost like he was a robot running low on energy, which sounds insane. So at one point, this man got really exhausted. He stood up and he said, "Sorry, energy running low." Why? Hopkins led him out to the door and he watched this man leave, and as he was leaving, going down the stairs, the man was walking very strangely. He was taking each step with both. As he was going down the steps, he was taking his steps very slowly, he was just really tired, really exhausted, acting very mechanically, almost robotically. So this man eventually left, and poor Hopkins, man, Hopkins went back inside. He destroyed all evidence that he had of his case with the supposed alien abductee. Hopkins even had this German Shepherd mixed dog that was typically really protective and brave, but throughout this whole time, that dog was scared with his tail between his legs and hiding from this man in black. That's really creepy because I feared the men in black, but I always found comfort in the fact that I have my dog. But to think that these creatures would scare my dog, it's who's left to protect me? I don't know. Oh god. After this point, he always seemed to have issues with his phone. He even contacted his phone company, and the phone company did find that someone had been tampering with his phone line, but they could never really trace to the source of it. So there is more to the story with Hopkins. There is more information about things that his son discovered around their house after the encounter, more things about how the men appeared and disappeared. So if you guys want to read into it, it's definitely very interesting. Now, in total, since like the 70s, I believe, there have only really been about 40 recorded encounters with these supposed men in black. So it's not like the most common thing in the world for people to really encounter these beings. But at the end of the day, like, if you think about it, if you had encountered these men in black and they had scared you into thinking that you should be more careful and to not share certain things, you would think that you would be a little scared to report it to the authorities, right? Like, if I had encountered the men in black, I probably wouldn't really report it to anyone. It's possible that there have been more encounters, but people are just a little scared to talk about it. Some people believe that the men in black work for the government as kind of a secret agency, while others think that these men in black are actually aliens themselves, which when you read about their body language and when you read about the way that they look, like, there's a ton more than I'm able to share in this video today. It's not the craziest stretch. I mean, if you're already wondering about these things anyways, it's not really that far of a stretch for them to be this other sort of being, right? Men in black are also referred to Horlocks, which is like a species of aliens. Apparently these aliens called Draconians, so this isn't getting insane. These species of aliens called Draconians supposedly implant themselves into human tissue, or like structures that look like human beings but are actually put together using animal tissue and things like that. And then they simulate their memory from a different human to make them somewhat function like a human. But at the end of the day, they're zombie-like. They're almost humans. They're not really humans. They're really designed by these aliens called Horlocks or Draconians. A little creepy. So this brings us into our next topic, and that is the subject of alien races. Now, throughout my years of just like reading and watching videos for fun, I've only ever heard of a couple races, but recently I came across this massive list of supposed like over 80 species of aliens, which is insane. These aliens look different, they have different abilities and even different histories. When you start reading into it, it gets kind of insane. Like, honestly, it's almost like a different world. It's almost like a fantasy book, possibly. The most commonly known species of aliens are called the Greys, who supposedly originate from the star system called the Zeta Reticuli star system. The world is gonna think I'm insane after this video. Now, where did this come from? What is the origin? Where did these creatures originate? So when we look into history, there are a couple of things that happened that brought this strange looking creature into the light. Sounds really weird. They're supposedly 3 feet tall, have telepathic abilities, and are responsible for the so-called alien abductions that have happened around the world throughout history. You know, this all sounds crazy, but when you start to research into different kinds of abductions, different kinds of just UFO-oriented stories, they always somehow lead back to the Zeta Reticuli star system, which honestly makes you wonder if some part of this just might be true. In the 1960s, Betty and Barney Hill were supposedly abducted while returning from vacation back to their home in New Hampshire. While they were on board the ship, they noticed a star map that was there. Later in hypnotic therapy, Betty Hill remembered the star map that she saw on the ship, and she actually drew it out. It was later confirmed that the star map resembled the Zeta Reticuli star system. So I believe this was the first time that the Zeta Reticuli star system was really brought forth to the public. So this next story is my absolute favorite alien theory, and you guys totally read into it. There are a ton of documentaries about it on YouTube. It's like just really fascinating. In the 1980s, a man named Bob Lazar exposed what we know of today as Area 51. He decided to tell the world about his experiences and things that he learned while working at this location called S4, which is located south of Area 51. The place where he worked at was a highly classified government location, and so it was a huge deal that he was coming forward and sharing this with the world. When you guys read into it, you'll see exactly why he decided to share it with the world. It was because at that time he feared for his life, and so he thought that if he came forward to the public, it would kind of protect him from possibly being killed by the government. Anyhow, when he had started working at S4, he had initially been taken to this room where he was pretty much left alone to read this set of papers. And in this set of papers, it said all these different things about what the government knew about UFOs and aliens at that point in time, he was completely taken aback and almost had like an existential crisis, because the things that were said in these government papers was that they had been working with the grays from the star system, the Zeta Reticuli, and the government at that point in time was aware of about 80 different kinds of species of aliens. Insane. But again, do you see how these different stories seem to somehow always lead back to it? It's almost like there is some kind of grain of truth about some of it. Oh my god, this leaf blower. Your yard looks beautiful. The next theory is about something regarding Solar Warden. Solar Warden was exposed by a computer military hacker named Gary McKinnon, who exposed that there are supposedly two massive motherships. Not part of this. There are supposedly two massive motherships that look almost like cigars. And each of these cigar-shaped motherships have about 43 different ships inside of them. These motherships supposedly lurk above Earth and sometimes even travel around the sun and throughout the solar system. They are a secret space fleet designed for the Illuminati, the elite Illuminati, to escape Earth in the event that something happens and Earth becomes uninhabitable. An online UFO... Wah! Diesel, don't scare me, Jesus Christ. An online UFO hunter supposedly saw an image of this massive spacecraft lurking around our sun in an image released by the SOHO, Solar and Heliospheric Observatory. There have been different people who've constantly seen these like strange crafts and things lurking around the sun, what look like clear structures, but every time that people inquire about it to NASA, they always just ignore their questions, but they never actually deny their statements. So it just makes you wonder, what are these strange crafts? Supposedly these motherships are designed with the same alien propulsion systems as those found in UFOs from the Zeta Star Reticuli system. So maybe that's what's happening in Area 51. There's also supposedly in Area 52. That's for a whole other video. Okay, so moving on to the next topic, and honestly this one is super fascinating because there are so many images of it and just makes you wonder why. What is it? Ooh, that looks strange. I'm always looking at the sky. I'm always wondering, hunting, staring. Just kidding. So this right here has been discovered lurking above the Earth. There are multiple photos taken by the something satellite system. There are photos of it from different angles. Like, it's very much there. So the story goes that Nikola Tesla was the first person to discover this object because he started to receive radio signals from it in 1899. What? The same claim was made by amateur radio operators in the early 20th century. So it wasn't just Nikola Tesla who was experiencing this, it was other people as well. And this was far before technology was a thing, right? This was when everything was sort of like starting to bud. This object was officially confirmed by scientists in 1932, and it was given the name the Black Knight satellite. Some people have said that this object is possibly just space junk, but other people, of course, have their own theories, and those theories are the ones that I'm interested in. The conspiracy theory states that this is apparently a 13,000-year-old alien satellite that is orbiting our planet. According to Scottish writer Duncan Lennon, this is apparently a probe that contains a map leading to a faraway alien planet called Epsilon Bootis. He's also theorized that the signals that this satellite is giving off are attempts by that faraway planet to communicate with those of us living here on Earth. So this sounds a little crazy, but we have photos. It just makes you wonder, like, what could it be? And is it really that far-fetched that some kind of advanced civilization somewhere released this giant craft out into the vastness of space at some point in time, and it's just kind of been lurking here since then? I mean, I can't say it's impossible, you know, like, we don't know who's out there. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think this is crazy? There is so much about this satellite you guys can read into. Also, there's more about Nikola Tesla's discovery of this satellite and the signals that it was giving off. It's all super fascinating to read about. Highly recommend that you guys read into it. All right, so we are down to our final alien conspiracy theory, and this one is regarding theory of Serpo. I've left the craziest and the best for last. In 2005, an anonymous source sent a series of emails to a UFO discussion group led by the US government employee Victor Martinez. The emails exposed the existence of an exchange program between the US government and the Ebens, which are from the planet Serpo. Planet Serpo is a planet in the Zeta Reticuli star system. Again, see what I'm saying, guys? The source revealed that he was a retired government employee and that he had at some point participated in this exchange program. So supposedly the exchange program originated from 2 different UFO crashes The first being the most popular Roswell Incident, another one that happened in Corona. Supposedly 1 out of the 7 crashed extraterrestrials survived, and that surviving one provided information about its home planet and just other things that made it possible to start this exchange program. However, that one extraterrestrial that survived ended up dying eventually in 1952. Rest in peace. So one of the things that were inside of this crashed UFO happened to be a communication device. And I suppose that's what was used to eventually start up this crazy and awesome program, which I wish I could have participated in because that would have been awesome. Take me with you. So one thing led to another, and eventually the aliens decided to take just one thing led to another, you know, just another day. In 1965, the aliens agreed to take humans back to their home planet in an exchange program. 12 people were carefully selected to participate. They included 10 men and 2 women. It was agreed that they would stay on the planet Serpo for about 10 years, which is a really long time. When they returned in 1978, they were about 4 people short. They were 3 years late. I don't appreciate that. 2 of them died on the home planet, and 2 of them decided to stay, which that would have been me. Just take me with you, please. The trip to Serpo took about 37 light years and about 9 months on the craft. They discovered that Serpo was similar to Earth in its atmospheric composition, and also it had 2 stars instead of just 1 star, which is kind of cool. I wonder if the aliens are really tan there. Probably really tan. The radiation was too strong for the humans there, so when they were on the planet, they had to really protect themselves. Those that did return to Earth eventually died because of the radiation exposure. There's so many things detailing like what this planet was like, and it just makes you wonder, it's like, really, how much of this is actually true? But it's kind of interesting to wonder about, so I'm gonna just tell you guys about it, okay? So this planet supposedly has 650,000 inhabitants, which is not very much. One day on the planet Serpo lasted 43 Earth hours, which is a long time. That would be amazing. Can you imagine just having all those hours in a day? That'd be great. You'd get so much more done. Or would you? Would you get more done if you had more time? Or would you just be lazier because you would think that you had a lot of time? I'd probably be lazier, let's be honest. There were apparently different kinds of animals there, and there were some bigger creatures that the Ebons used to do work and whatnot. Very similar to humans, like, you know, we have our horses, we have our elephants. The Ebons had a military, but they never actually saw the Ebons ever use any form of violence. They had no concept of money or commerce, which is really interesting. Apparently the Ebons had a very low success rate when it came to reproduction, so the children of the Ebons were very isolated and very protected. So like, even when the humans were there, they didn't really even get to see the children of the Ebons very much. So when the people returned to Earth, they talked about all of their account and all their experiences on the planet, and it all totaled to about 3,000 pages worth of information, which is really fascinating. I want to get a handle on that. I want to read that. To this day, we don't really know the status of the humans who decided to stay on Serpo. Supposedly, the Ebons have not contacted Earth since 1985. This was insane. I mean, seriously, like, ugh. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more crazy alien-oriented videos, be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments below what kind of alien conspiracy theories you'd like me to get into in the future. If you guys want to stay connected, you can find all my contact information in the description box below. I love you to the moon, and I will see you soon. Keep styling!